Welcome to Oddball. I'm Charlotte Wilder. That's Amin Elhassan. Amin, our producers are making fun of us because they say we look like we're inside of a peach today because of the color of your background and my sweatshirt. What do you have to say to that?
I'm actually on the inside of a peach. No, I'm in the inside of a stop sign. That's what I'm inside of. Oh, there it is.
Yeah. Okay, okay, what's it like in there?
Line.
It was a halting delivery.
See, it was one line. One line, yeah.
Well,
it's very red.
Yeah, I'm not even going to ask where you are, but we're gonna stick with the stop sign thing. It was media day for the Boston Celtics. Somehow that feels related to a stop sign. Because after an offseason full of saying just the weirdest stuff imaginable, it was nice to see that the players had a chance to prove that they are optimistic and totally sure about this coming year. Let's hear literally the first 20 seconds of Jaylen Brown's press conference.
Welcome back. Not getting called on for the Olympic roster there. How did that make you feel? And are you carrying any of those?
Number one.
Sorry. Right off the bat. Not a lot of chances here.
To warm up a little.
I mean, his reaction was maybe like the most human I've seen Jaylen Brown be in like a year.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, that's how I felt hearing that question. Like, damn. No softballs to get this thing started. It's media day. Why'd you ask me what kind of Fruit Loops are the best flavor? By the way, that's a trick question. They all taste the same. Also, well, when you see someone, Charlotte, walk in with a completely new look, is it the first thing you ask? Is like, what's up with the new look?
Yes.
What's up with the beard? It's gone, but it's still kind of there. Like it's like he didn't.
First thing, that somebody should have asked Jaylen Brown is, hey man, looks like you got rid of your beard almost all the way. And I don't know that I knew that Jaylen Brown had a little cleft in his chin. I went back actually because I was like, have we seen him without a beard before? I watched his draft day, and even on draft day in 2016, this man had enough of a beard that it concealed his chin. And I think that there is it was doing a lot for his jaw. I was like, wait, is that Jaylen Brown? And I couldn't put my finger on it. So I really wish that did somebody ask him about that?
He was 19 on draft day, and he already had a big enough beard to conceal the cleft chin. Also, the fact that he still kind of has a beard, just not the same kind of beard, tells me I think this was either a shaving mistake, like oh man, now we got to cut it all the way down. Okay. Been there before, or this was the feedback from a certain someone, a significant other, who said, you would look good, but da-da-da. Like that's the only way you end up in a situation like that after you've had a beard that's that iconic. Like imagine if James Harden showed up just like with a shorter beard, like with a beard like mine. You'd think there's something up, right? Either A, there was a barber mistake, or B, someone said, you'd look really good if you just did this.
Yeah, I even went down that rabbit hole. I was Googling, to see if there was anything reported about his girlfriend saying something about that. I couldn't find anything. But here's what I did find. I did find perhaps the you know what? Just run it. Just play this sound, please.
On a night we playing. Don't mean to disrespect them, but the Detroit Pistons, who have struggled over the last year or two, we're going to play through Peyton, let him go for 30. I'll play through Sam, let him shoot 10 threes tonight. We're going to still win the game.
So, okay, first of all, saying no disrespect and then saying something unbelievably disrespectful. Also, not like, of course, Peyton Pritchard and Sam Hauser know their roles, but it's also like, sort of a shot at them, even though it's not a shot at them. Like they know what it's not really, but also it's like taking candy from a baby. That like punching down on the Detroit Pistons at this point feels a little unnecessary. I didn't hate it though.
They are bad. What are we doing?
They're really bad.
Hey, we're not that. Yes, you are. You're bad enough for the best teams to have their like 9th and 10th guys facilitate the offense again. That's how bad you are, Detroit. Having said that, last year when they were losing a million games in a row, one of the closest losses they had, and actually could have been a win, was against Boston in Boston. So maybe Mr. Jaylen Brown, maybe you pick another team to disrespect and not the Detroit Pistons, who almost, even as I said, I can't convince myself. I'll tell you why. I'm distracted by the beardlessness or beard rejection. It was just too weird. I don't know. Again, I don't want to. Can we just hear the sounds from now on and not actually see him talk?
Well, you're in luck because we've got to check in with our buddy Jayson Tatum, who is almost definitely cool with reporters, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious what you learned from your experience at the Olympics this summer.
That's a broad question. You want to be more specific?
Is it something you're going to draw motivation from, I guess?
You want to address the, I didn't play in 2 of those games? That's what you mean?
That's part of it, yeah.
Man, first of all, it sounds like the same reporter who asked that first question. No, maybe I'm typecasting here. It sounds like the same guy. Second of all, why did it turn flirtatious at the end? When he says, you talking about me not playing in those 2 games? And he's like, maybe, fine. Like, why are you flirting with him? Just ask the question. Just ask, you already cracked the seal with Jaylen Brown. Just go dive in, man.
It's also like this is an encapsulation of the Celtics offseason. Is you win a championship, you finally get over the hump after how many appearances in the Eastern Conference Finals over the past few years, and everyone's just like, so you sucked this summer. How you feeling? Like, this is I'm surprised that Tatum, that was like the sort of scariest we've seen Tatum, and I'm almost surprised it took him to media day. Okay, maybe not scary, like a little bit edgy. It's Tatum.
It looked like he was scratching his horrible tattoo of himself kissing the trophy on his back. You know how he went like, what do you mean?
Was. He probably was.
This is my thing. I've realized the best way I can describe these Celtics.
Oh, no.
10 years from now, when we're trying to name who won titles. Oh, yeah, it was the Lakers in 2020, the Bucks in 21. It was in 22, it was the Warriors. In 23, it was the Nuggets. Mm-hmm. Who the won in 24? I can't remember. And somewhere Jayson Tatum's like, man, I did it. It was me. Look.
That is talk about disrespect to me. That is so disrespectful and unfortunately so accurate that I really, a repeat would be great, but I haven't wanted them to repeat as badly as I have in the last 5 seconds since you said that.
Because otherwise no one's going to remember.
No, I know. Okay, well, let's see what else Tatum said about the Olympics.
Joe was probably the happiest person in the world that I didn't win Finals MVP and that I didn't play in 2 of the games in the Olympics. So that was odd, but if you know Joe, it makes sense.
Okay, yes. I mean, what? Joe Mazulla is Joe Mazulla is such a. He's on another planet. What is this? What does he mean here? What what does Tatum say?
I'll explain this very simply.
Okay.
Tatum says that Joe basically likes that Tatum got snubbed for all these things because Joe thinks that that's going to fuel his fire and make him the monster he wants to be or whatever. Basically, Joe Mazulla thinks like a cartoon villain from the 20s. Like he might as well have the long mustache. When I tie him to the tracks, they'll bow before me and give me $100. Like it's very cartoonish, and it's why we affectionately call him Crazy Joe Mazulla. It's Crazy Joe Mazulla. It's like only Crazy Joe Mazulla could sit here and be like, this is a good thing.
I mean, look, if there were ever an offseason where a coach needed to spin a bunch of stuff into positives, I suppose it were this one. So in some ways, sure, Joe, work with what you've got. Let's see what former coach, current GM Brad Stevens had to say, because maybe he gave us actual information.
Kristaps obviously had the surgery that was well documented after the year. I don't know that we're interested in putting a timeline on him because the injury is unique. But as far as how he feels and the progress that he's made, I'd say we're very, very pleased with where he is and maybe a little surprised.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Brad, for that really detailed timetable.
English, please. Can you translate for me?
So I guess he's saying basically like it's looking better than we thought, which we don't even know if that's true. But how big of a deal is it, Amin, for Porzingis to be out if he's out for a while to start the season?
Yeah, I mean, like, this is the part where the Celtics, it's not that big of a blow. They're a really good team without Porzingis.
Mm-hmm.
And to get through the regular season, like, I would take the same approach as they did, which is, hey, we're going to take our time. We're going to play it safe because we got a lot of talent here. Horford, even though he's 100 years old, like, he still can get out there and be productive. Against all odds, they seem to make Luke Kornet work in those short stints. Xavier Tillman, who they brought back last year. Like, so they've got enough to get them through October through April. I think the big idea is that, hey, if you're going to win another championship, if you're going to advance in the playoffs, you're going to need Porzingis. You're going to need his size, his defense. You're going to need his shooting as well. He's one of the best shooters they have on the team. So, like, that's the important part. But from here through April, I mean, there's still a top 2, top 3 team if Porzingis doesn't play a second, in my opinion.
Which is really crazy. That depth is insane because, like, to have Porzingis as a special weapon you pull out for the playoffs.
Well, I wouldn't say the depth is insane or call him a special weapon. I would say that their 1 through 6, say, is so good that, like, it can overcome. It can overcome the absence. By the way, I think you could take out other people. You could take out Drew Holiday. And I think it's still strong enough to overcome. It's not because they have an amazing guard coming in off the bench to fill his role. I think it's just because those 6 guys that play night in, night out are good enough where you can play, again, a Peyton Pritchard, a Luke Kornet, those guys minutes, and it won't, like, capsize the whole thing. But it's not a luxury because once they get to April, May, and June, they absolutely are going to. They're not going to be able to advance, I don't think, against some of the better teams without a full complement of their roster.
All right. Well, speaking of Luke Kornet, maybe he can give us just one straightforward, insightful soundbite that we can play for a loyal Oddball audience.
You know, there's times where you have to start looking ahead to what your future financial goals are, as well as what the current financial situation and markets look like. You know, whether these things are the right decisions, knowing what your interest rate is. We actually haven't paid it off. I was talking to someone the other day who said that, like, 40 years ago, he bought a 6-family home and a 2-family home with no money down. I don't know about that story.
Okay, I'm sorry, Amin. I really like this guy. That's something I would do. I would get up there on the podium and be like, yeah, so this one time this friend of mine gave me a pair of shoes and, oh my God, you know what? I actually have no idea where I'm going with this. I do that on this very show, I would say.
Yeah, the funny thing was, the question was, sir, is this your handwriting? That's an inside joke for NBA people. If you're not an NBA person, look up Donald Sterling, is this your handwriting? You're going to get a good laugh out of it.
I got a good laugh. Also, the question was, I mean, have you paid off your mortgage with the bonus you got from winning a championship?
Do you want to try to finish his story about the 6? I think he meant a 6-bedroom home and a 2-bedroom home. A 6-family home, sir, that is an apartment building. That is not a home.
Sir, that is a complex. Yeah, you know, I mean, I think really what he was actually trying to say is that he talked to someone who bought a big house with a mortgage and then a small house with no mortgage, and the big house with a mortgage was actually, like, easier to pay. You know, actually, I have no idea. I think what he was trying to say is something about, like, there's a nursery rhyme in there, right? Like old Mother Hubbard who lived in a shoe or something. I don't know.
Somehow I'm more confused now than when the segment started. Charlotte, you mean to tell me we went through an entire Celtics media day and we didn't get a quote from Crazy Joe Davola? Joe Mazulla. Crazy Joe Mazulla. Seinfeld coming out of me.
Can you talk about how much you enjoyed this offseason, starting with the parade?
I mean, I wouldn't say I enjoyed the offseason. I enjoyed the parade. I thought the parade was a rather intense experience, which I loved.
I mean, like, hold on. All right. If you're his family, how do you feel? I didn't enjoy the offseason. right? You got to be like, sorry, I thought Disney World was kind of fun. My bad. Sorry to torture you.
Sorry, Dad. Like, I had a good time at the lake in New Hampshire. Sue me.
Yeah. I thought we made great strides this summer, Joe. What happened?
He's hurting everybody's feelings, but I guess if Joe Mazulla is your family member, you're used to it. The Knicks, unfortunately, are also used to a little bit of bad news when it comes to Mitchell Robinson. Look at that transition. Ian Begley of SNY reported that Mitchell Robinson will likely be out until December or January due to an ankle injury. This is the same one that happened during the Sixers playoff series. You know, when Joel Embiid dragged him down, that was, I think he was already hurt. I don't know that helped. This is bad for the Knicks. I mean, they need a big. They got rid of Isaiah Hartenstein. Well, he got taken from them because they couldn't afford to keep him. This feels very bad to me. This feels like a cause for actual concern for Knicks fans.
Yeah, I mean, I think the glass half full, they're in the same situation as the Celtics. They can say, look, we've got a bunch of guys here that are really good. As long as we can get to April, May, and June, that's when we really need Robinson's availability. Glass half empty, you have to look at what are their options now that Robinson's out. So your options are you play Precious Achiuwa, who's undersized. You play Julius Randle, who's coming back from injury himself at the 5. And then OG Anunoby, who's coming back from injury and is very injury prone himself at the 4. You play Jericho Sims, not an option. There's a lot of complications, and oftentimes, Charlotte, it's ripple effects, right? Ripple effects, things that happen here and causing other stuff down here. I just keep thinking about if the Knicks, they knew the situation they were in with Isaiah Hartenstein.
Yeah.
Was there a more concerted effort to shore up backup center? Because I look at guys like Andre Drummond, Mason Plumlee, Daniel Tice. These are all serviceable backup centers in this league who can start in a pinch, who went for minimum to other situations. And I would think that New York would have been a situation where they could have attracted someone for minimum as a backup.
Well, here's how Josh Hart responded to the news on Twitter.
Yeah, could Josh Hart play 5?
No, he said, just so y'all know, I'm a 1 through 4. I really enjoyed this man. Even if the Knicks fall short of expectations, I don't think they will fall short of entertainment expectations. And as someone who is not a Knicks fan, I'm here for that.
Well, it's funny. When I saw Josh Hart on draft day years and years ago, when we got drafted by the Lakers, I said, I don't think he's ever going to be an all-star or all anything, but this guy is going to be a very good player for some very good teams for a very long time in this league. And it certainly looks that way.
There you go. All right.
But he doesn't play 5.
No, he doesn't play 5. When we come back, we have a very special guest on Oddball. Welcome back to Oddball. Amin actually had a conflict for this part of the show, so I'm going to be holding it down. We do, however, have a very special guest that I'm excited to introduce you to. Before I do, however, I need to set the scene because Vlade Divac was asked recently by a Croatian news outlet if he thinks drafting Marvin Bagley over Luka Doncic was the wrong choice. And now his response was, I already had De'Aaron Fox. Time will tell if I was wrong. This is Vlade Divac, who is in charge of picking who played for the Sacramento Kings. Now, I really am humbled. I'm honored. And I am excited to tell you that today we actually have Father Time himself for an interview. Oh, my God. And there he is. Father Time, thank you so much.
Sorry.
You have a hat?
No, I do have a hat. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be so informal, but, sometimes, things just happen the way they do. I'm very honored, Charlotte Wilder, to join you on this program. I'm a big fan of Oddball. I've been a big fan for a very long time. You see what I did there? And, it is an honor and a pleasure to be here, but I do want to say, to answer your question, Vlade, I already said this. He said, time will tell. Time did tell. I told him right the night of the draft, 2018, if you believe it.
What did you say?
No, I mean, I told him he shouldn't do it. I just told him to take Luka, and then I was flabbergasted when they didn't take Luka. So time told on the day of the draft. I mean, I don't know if you what.
Do you have the receipts? Like, did you? Yeah.
Of course.
How do we?
I mean, I tweeted it. There it is.
Oh, look at that!
Yeah.
Wow, can't believe the Suns passed on Luka. Even Vlade and the Kings couldn't mess this up. Okay.
There it is, and you see the timestamp and everything. I tweeted it the day of the draft. I thought, oh wow, what? And then I tweeted more. By the way, what was my next one? Right after, yeah.
Oh wow,
I mean,
you got to be effing kidding me! So you were mad. You were mad, Father Time.
It was a slam dunk. It was there on a platter. All he had to do was take the guy who was the MVP of Europe at age 18. Meanwhile, he took the guy who, went to Duke. We all know the Dukies. I'm not a fan of the Dukies. They're out of time, by the way.
Oh, well, yeah. I see what you did there.
Yes.
Father Time, if you don't mind, while I have you, can I ask you just a few other questions here?
I'm an open book.
Yeah, great. Have you spoken to Al Horford recently, the 38-year-old for the Celtics?
I have. I let him know. I said, Al, look, I'm not saying it's time, but I'm doing this a lot. I'm standing in the corner. I'm like, especially with these extra minutes he's going to have to be playing. Al, I hope you talk to Luke Kornet's financial advisor, because it might be the time to look forward to what's coming next.
Mr. Time, I believe you losing your hat. Yeah.
My hat is falling, yes.
Yeah, you better are you related to Gandalf by any or Dumbledore from
no. Let me take my hat off for this one. I am sick and tired. I have filed a cease and desist order. They are doing copyright infringement, taking my name, image, and likeness, and making money. The estate of J.R. Tolkien and J.K. Rowling. It's all the J's. Have you noticed? All the J's. But I digress. Oh, there's some plastic flying around. It's a little messy in Father Time's cavern.
Excuse me.
Any other questions?
Yes, I was wondering, LeBron James, he's entering his 22nd season. Are you in touch with him at all, or his camp? And do you have plans to chat soon?
Yeah, it's funny. I did have a conversation with LeBron James about it's almost time up for you too. But it was not LeBron James Sr., it was LeBron James Jr. As I said, enjoy it while it lasts, young man, because I don't know how much longer you are for this NBA world.
Father Time, who do you think will be out of the league first, LeBron James Sr. or LeBron James Jr.? I
mean, come on now. Come on. I'm not going against the GOAT on that one. Sorry, Bronny.
And another thing
LeBron James III. LeBron James III will be out of the NBA before LeBron James Sr. does.
I see what you did there. Nice.
Yes.
Do you have a favorite team, Father Time?
I do. It's funny. People think Father Time should be, impartial, but I'm a Knicks fan. I grew up in New York City, and I've been waiting for their time to come. And let me tell you something. It's so far away from now. I mean, I'm Father Time. Look how gray they've made me. I mean, hell, you knew you didn't have any centers going into the all season. Why wouldn't you get a backup center? Why you knew Mitchell Robinson needed surgery? That ankle is falling apart. Why would you wait? Oh, gosh. I just went. I'm going to be white by the end of this interview. Any other questions, Charlotte?
No, Father Time. I just want to thank you so much for your time. I know that you either have a lot of it or not enough, and I just appreciate you giving us that precious resource.
I do have some parting words, if I may, for one more person.
Yes.
For Patrick Beverley, your time's almost up in Israel. I mean, that's pretty scary because I just do the NBA thing. But hey, when your European career is running down, who knows? Maybe Venezuela.
Thank you, Father Time.
Depoy was a fake.